Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Jimmy Barnes' son explains what really happened when Anthony Albanese was booed as he appeared on stage at a blues music festival. David Campbell has leapt to the defense of Anthony Albanese to set the record straight about what really happened when the Labour leader appeared on stage at Byron Bay Bluesfest. The opposition leader capped off a week of election campaigning he'd rather forget on Sunday night when his surprise appearance at the much-loved music festival in northern NSW sparked a mixed reaction from the crowd. Mr Albanese was on stage to introduce Campbell's father, Aussie rock icon Jimmy Barnes, who was a headline act. He was initially met with deafening boos before he won the crowd over by promising a funding boost for the arts sector if he is elected Prime Minister on May 21. The next day, Barnes was keen to set the record straight about the welcome Mr Albanese received on stage through his son, a Today Extra co-host. +7 View Gallery Anthony Albanese received a rock star reception from music fans when he arrived at Byron Bay Bluesfest on Sunday night. Just spoke to my dad about Albo at Pound Bluesfest and he wanted to clear up some things, Campbell tweeted on Monday. Albo was definitely a guest at the event and most certainly not a gatecrasher. Albo was invited and welcomed because he has an arts policy which aligns with what my dad thinks the entertainment sector of this country needs. The booing was because the band were on stage, the crowd were pumped and ready to rock. When the working class man was announced, Albo came on. Classic switch. There were a few boos but more cheers. Barnes pointed out that most support acts get booed, as do most politicians at these events. From where he stood, Albo went over really well with the crowd, Campbell continued. Most importantly, he told me, after Albo left the stage, the gig was massive and everyone had the best night. Which, when you are at Bluesfest, after 2 years of cancellations, is the most important outcome. Barnes' recollection of events was backed up by businesswoman and former magazine editor Marina Go. I was in the audience for Jimmy Barnes at Byron Bay Bluesfest and this is consistent with what I saw and heard, she tweeted. +7 View Gallery Mr Albanese initially came on stage to boos from revellers in the crowd at Byron Bay Bluesfest. The Labour leader initially received a rock star reception and warm welcome from fans when he arrived at the festival with partner Jodie Haydon. The stage announcer later introduced Mr Albanese as the man that represents the working class people as he asked festival goers to give the Labour leader a world-class welcome. Albanese approached the stage to boos, telling the crowd it was great to be at Bluesfest. He then acknowledged the traditional owners of the land at Byron Bay. I begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we meet. Pay my respect to elders past and present and what we want is to recognize First Nations people in our constitution. The decry from revellers eventually quietened down before erupting into applause and cheers as Albanese hinted at arts funding if his party was elected into government and he brought Barnes onto the stage. Australians have been magnificent over the last couple of years, and what we want is a government that backs the arts sector. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jimmy Barnes. Aussie legend acts Midnight Oil, Paul Kelly and Crowded House also performed at Byron Bay Bluesfest, which returned after a 3-year hiatus due to COVID-19. +7 View Gallery Anthony Albanese's on-stage appearance was met with deafening boos but soon won over music fans when he promised funding for the arts if elected to power. Public support for Mr Albanese has plummeted in the last week following several election blunders. The surprising new poll revealed support for Labour has dropped by 4 points from 38% as Prime Minister Scott Morrison's popularity regains momentum. Primary support for the coalition government rose by 1% by 35% as Mr Morrison's personal approval soared. He has retaken the lead from Mr Albanese as Australia's preferred Prime Minister and has seen his popularity rise by 2 cents in the last fortnight to 38%. Mr Albanese's popularity has plunged from 37% to 30% following a string of gaffes in recent days and now has 5 weeks left to change voters' minds. Up to 27% of voters surveyed admitted they uncommitted of who they'll vote for on May 21, a 6% increase from a fortnight ago. +7 View Gallery rock legend Jimmy Barnes, pictured performing at Byron Bay Bluesfest, says there were more cheers than boos for Anthony Albanese. The latest poll conducted by Resolve Strategic for 9 newspapers surveyed more than 1,404 voters. Every trend has gone the coalition's way in this latest poll: vote, leadership, policy, performance, so the electorate is judging.